الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا رسول الله. The author said, the 13 attributes. According to a saying of the Maturidiyah, Allah is attributed with attributes that we cannot count. Some are obligatory to be known with detail and some are not. By agreement, ittifaq, there are 13 attributes called the attributes of the self, sifatu that, or the dhatiyah attributes pertaining to the self. Because the self is not known without knowing them, these attributes are qa'im, confirmed for the self of Allah. It is impossible that Allah would be attributed with what is contrary or contradictory to these attributes because of what is confirmed by the intellect and the texts of the religion. What are contrary to these attributes are all imperfections that prevent the validity of Him creating. The one who never thought about Allah having these 13 attributes, but he never denied or doubted about one of them, is not a blasphemer. If he believed in the basic meaning of the two shahadas and pronounced that he is indeed a Muslim, it is not a condition for the validity of one's conviction that one knows extensive details or even the specific name of any particular attribute. Believing in its meaning is sufficient. Nor is it an obligation to memorize the terminology. It is obligatory to learn their meanings. The scholars said, whoever negates them is not a Muslim, he is a blasphemer. It was the habit of the later scholars who authored works about the creed to declare it an obligation on every accountable Muslim to know 13 attributes of Allah. This does not mean that the Salaf did not mention them at all. They did, like Abu Hanifa in Al-Fiqh al-Akbar, but not constantly declaring the obligation to know them. They said knowing them is a personal obligation because they were reiterated throughout the Quran and the Hadith, either explicitly or implicitly, more than other attributes. These 13 attributes can be derived from Suratul Ikhlas, as seen in the talk of Imam Abdullah ibn Ahmad al-Nasafi in his book of interpretation, Madarik al-Tanzil wa Haqa'iq al-Ta'wil. He said, his saying, Hu Allah, which means He is Allah, is a sign that He is the creator of the things and their fatir, originator. Included in that is His ascription of being powerful and knowledgeable, because creating requires power and knowledge. The creation occurs with the ultimate degree of perfection, harmony, and order, and in that is His ascription of being alive, because the one ascribed with power and knowledge must be ascribed with life. And that is an attribution with hearing, sight, will, speech, and other attributes of perfection. Had He not been ascribed with them, He would be ascribed with what contradicts them, which are imperfections. That is the indication of createdness. Thus, ascribing the eternal with that is impossible. His saying, Ahad, He is one, is an ascription of oneness and a denial of partnership, and that He exclusively is attributed with giving existence to the non-existent, and that He is the only one who knows all of the hidden matters. His saying, As-Samad, the sought master needed by all, is an ascription that, in terms of being needy or not, He is needed only. And if he is not ascribed except with being needed, then he is absolutely independent, not requiring anyone, and everything requiring him. His saying, Lam yalid, he did not beget, is a denial of resemblance and typicality. His saying, Walam yulad, and he was not begotten, is a negation of createdness and an ascription with eternity and beginninglessness. His saying, Walam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad, there was never for him any equivalent, is a negation that anything resembles him. He mentioned 11 out of 13 and could have mentioned all. He skipped existence because it is obvious. Nor did he mention everlastingness, but it is understood from the eternality. Nor did he mention everlastingness, but it is understood from the attribute of eternity. He could have derived everlastingness like he derived power, knowledge, life, hearing, sight, and speech. Benefits. Some of the attributes have more than one name in Arabic. Eternity or eternality is al-qidam or al-azaliyah. Independence is al-qiyamu bin nafs, al-istighna, and al-ghina. Power is al-qudrah and al-quwwah. Will is al-iradah and al-mashi'ah. Sight is al-basar and al-ru'yah. And speech is al-Qur'an and al-kalam, al-qawl, al-kalimah, and al-kalimat. Second benefit, Allah has attributes such as takween, giving, being, which is creating, and it shall come. Among them is qadar, which is taqdir, destining. The Shaykh said, Al-qadaru huwa tadbiru al-ashya'i ala wajhin mutabiqin li'ilmi Allahi al-azali wa mashi'atihi al-azaliyah فيوجدها في الوقت الذي علم أنها تكون فيه. The qadar is the tadbir, the management of things, in a way that complies with the eternal knowledge of Allah and His eternal will. He makes them exist at the time in which He knew they would exist. It is managing everything in accordance with the knowledge, power, and will, and it shall come. They are eternal and everlasting by the consensus of the people of truth. None are eventually occurring within the self and thus do not increase or decrease, like the attributes of the creation. They do not dwell in the self nor overcome each other or cancel each other. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam.